Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So the topic for this video is sin. And I know lots of people are going to see this and probably are going to ask the question, okay, what is this all about? People don't like to talk about the word sin, but I think there's a big misunderstanding regarding the nature of sin and why it's bad. Because if you were like me, who grew up in a nominally Christian household, we did believe in God, but I didn't go to church every Sunday. To you, or just to, your average American, sin is this idea that, you do something bad and then you are punished by God. So it's viewed in a completely negative way, as it should be, but it's never explained to us why it's bad and why we actually shouldn't do it. So that's what I want this short video to be about, which is, why is sin bad? Well, it's not only bad because of the punishment that will come. And by the way, this punishment is not like the punishment of a tyrant god in the sky, a man who just looks at what we did wrong and says, oh, I'm going to punish him for that. No, it's actually much more rooted in science, biology, the perpetuation of the species. Because if you look at things that are considered sin, like homosexuality, adultery, murder, all of these things work against the continuation of the species. Some of them in clearer ways than others, but really what it comes down to is sin is what divides a society within itself. So if you have people who rob or murder, steal, those are obvious threats to the stability of a society. And the punishment for that is actually on a social level. Maybe also personal, but it's mostly on a social level of your society will not continue to exist long if you don't punish those crimes and if people don't turn away from those crimes. Those are the big ones, murder, stealing. But if we think about the sins of the pleasures of the flesh, like adultery, or even like masturbation, homosexuality, things like this. Well, if we take adultery, why is your society going to be punished for that, or how? Well, families are going to be torn apart. Children will learn the sins of their fathers or mothers, and it will work against the continuation of the species, because then kids will be seen as a burden, like against your desires. Like you just want the desire of the flesh to be with that woman now, against maybe your long-term best interest, which is to have a loving wife who you can really create a legacy with, loving her, but also loving many children that you will have with her. Masturbation, for the same reason, it's just like a temporary kind of depraved satisfaction of desire that you have inside, a disordered desire, because your desire, with theology of the body, which I've learned a lot. I actually met Christopher West, who is heading the Theology of the Body Institute. Our desires for sex are completely natural, good, and even he uses the phrase that what is done in the bedroom is liturgical, in the context of marriage, which is of course the proper context. So yeah, masturbation, adultery, these things, they're about fulfilling your desire in the moment against the long-term interests of you actually, but again, of society, because that's what we want to get at. Like sin, yeah, it feels good, but like if we have a society of sinners, we won't have society for long. And I think as I'm reading through the Old Testament, this is really, God. We read the Bible and we see God punishing the Israelites for their sins, turning away from God, adultery, all that stuff, murder. But that is a literary interpretation of what is actually happening, which is that God, who is much more metaphysical, eternal, beyond working in but beyond nature. Like God is the eternal force of the principle of existence that kind of continues the cycle of life, whether that's the planets and the stars or the animals and humans. And if we look at animals, I think they're a perfect example of beings without sin. Now, I don't know if I'm branching out of my territory here. I don't know if it would be right. But yeah, I don't believe they have free will, so they don't sin. They just act according to their nature. And so that's what we should view. Our goal is to act in accordance with our nature. And so sin is when we do things that are going against our nature, that are going against our long-term best interest as a species. And so, or even if we think about homosexuality, like, again, we should not hate the sinner. Like, if you cheat on your wife, we should not hate you, but we should hate the sin because it's not good. You should not cheat on your wife. Homosexuality, you should not do that thing with your thing and do something with it that it was not meant for. Like, I think it's just, obviously it's biologically rational to question why you would put your thing where it wasn't designed to go, to not get too specific on that, because then it can become a fetish. Like, if I like putting my thing where in places that probably aren't the best, then I shouldn't build my identity off like my lust, my passion for doing that. No, I think sex is obviously most natural within is natural within the context of the eternal bond between man and woman. And at this point, arguing about that, it doesn't even really make sense because some people are coming at the point of view of I make my morality, and other people are coming from the point of view like me, which is that morality is more objective, believing in an order of things, a natural order. And so coming full circle to what is sin? Sin is when we go against our long-term interest, against the natural order. And the punishment is not the man in the sky. The punishment is a natural punishment. It is our children, if we have them, being raised in a society where it's bad for them and it leads to wars and violence, lust, like all of these things, these passions of the human heart gone wrong. It's terrible. And when societies collapse, it's kind of when the weight of the sins just finally, the straw that breaks the camel's back, the society can't hold up anymore because the society is not based on true love, which God is love, so it's not based on God, it's not based on, willing the good of the other, which is what true love is, whether it's you loving a friend or your wife, wanting the best for them. And so sin is when we let our personal momentary desires go against that long-term interest of love that is best for us and holds societies together. And it becomes even worse when we become proud of our sin and we make that our identity. Because we want to be children of the light, trying to make the world a better place through love. You know, hate the sin, don't hate the sinner. Just work with them and try to show that there are other ways, towards the light. And yeah, so that's how I think we should understand sin. Bring a little bit more of history, even sociology, anthropology, science, biology back to what sin is, and turn our biblical view of it to a human perspective, and then we can see this kind of unity of the whole. So thank you for your time, and yeah, I hope that clarifies some things. I welcome any comments down below. So have a great day, you guys.